Well, it started off a little small. We had a group here on campus called the Milton Center, and they were dedicated to writing in the faith tradition. And they approached the English department, and we got our heads together and started up a literary festival and began bringing writers to campus. And when they moved on to greener pastures, or at least northwestern pastures, we kept the LitFest and continued it, and we've now expanded it to a number of other fields. So we do have the literary component, but we also have people presenting and talking about issues of all kinds.
Now, every LitFest seems to have a theme. Can you tell me a little bit about the theme for this year?
This year is science and literature, and it came out of the common reading that we had this year for a freshman, which is the novel Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. And we thought it would be appropriate to get people involved in a conversation about technology and where it's taking us.
Could you tell me a little bit about this year's keynote speaker, Elizabeth Hand?
Elizabeth Hand is a fantastic writer. She's been around publishing for about 20 years at least. She's won most of the major awards in science fiction. At one point she worked for the Smithsonian Institution, and she seemed like a wonderful candidate to have come and talk about both, because she straddles the field of application in science as well as writing about it fictionally.
All right. Could you tell us a little bit about the Space Prom?
Last year we had, our theme was zombies. And so we came up with this harebrained scheme of having a zom prom, and everyone dressed as zombies and came out, and we had, literally finger foods and brain drinks and all kinds of stuff. And it was a raging success. And so we thought, we've got all of this heady stuff. We've got people on panels talking about all kinds of issues. We've got keynote speakers. We've got poetry readings. We've got authors presenting their work. It's nice to be able to let our hair down a little bit, and so we thought a space prom would be nice. If people want to show up in space uniforms, I'm delighted. Otherwise, the music is going to... we've got the DeVales playing. That's another current student at Newman. He's got a wonderful band that he's put together, and they've played around the state. And they're going to try to get some spacey kinds of music. But it's not a... Last time we sort of encouraged dressing up as zombies. This time, you want to dress up as aliens, that's fine by us.
And is there any cost associated with attending any part of LitFest?
Not for students and not for faculty, but if you are presenting, we do ask that people, unless you're a student presenting, but if you're a professional presenting, we do charge a little bit for that.
And are there any interesting presentations we have to look forward to?
The Friday schedule, some of the highlights will be at 1 o'clock, Elizabeth Hand will be giving a master class in the alumni boardroom, so she'll be talking to people who want to write science fiction or perhaps fiction of any kind. And then what ends up happening on both Friday and Saturday, the majority of the academic, scholarly portions with some creative elements as well, most of that happens in the up to midday, little past. And then starting around 3 o'clock, it moves from the library over to Jabara Theater. And then we have more performance-oriented kinds of events. So I'll be giving a reading on Friday at 3. We've got a roundtable discussion at 4. Mark Manette's got a play that he's written called Time Traveler, which will be performed at 7. We've got some Latin and Greek plays being performed at 8, and then the Space Prom at 9. Similar kind of thing happens on Saturday with, although we do have a Kansas poet, Dan Pohl, who's going to be reading over in the library at 11. And then our student literary magazine debuts. We'll have readings from that and prizes given out we give an award every year for best fiction and best poetry. That'll be, again, in the library at 1. And then Starting at 3, our provost, Mike Austin, will be reading from his new book, talking about rereading Job. We've got our improv group will be performing at 4. We've got some Shakespeare scenes at 7. A former student who's graduated and gone on to greener pastures, Rebecca Valentine, who won the Dell Asimov's Science Fiction Writing Award a couple of years ago. She'll be reading at 8. And then another award-winning current student, CL, will be reading, they'll be performing a play that she's directing.